Oh, you picked up 3 cases. You picked up a fraudulent use of ID, less than 5 items. You picked up a theft case, and you have an out-of-state fugitive case.
One of them has been dismissed, Judge. The fraudulent use of items has been dismissed. So technically, he's only got the theft pending and the fugitive case pending.
Mr. Kim, enlighten us.
Your Honor, this defendant is wanted out of Broward County, Florida for felony theft. The state would be opposed to a bond. There are 47 cycles of criminal history in the past 5 years alone, and these are just convictions.
47 pages of criminal history in 5 years?
47 cycles, Your Honor. For pages, it is 46 pages of criminal history, including, well, the California one's old, so I'm not going to count that one, but just in the last 5 years alone, and these are just...
They were not 47 in the last 5 years.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are diving into a wild bond hearing where the judge faces a man with one of the thickest rap sheets imaginable. It all starts when Mr. Jones stands before the court for theft and fugitive charges, but the bomb drops when the prosecutor reveals Jones's criminal record is an astonishing 46 pages long. The judge doesn't sugarcoat it. He makes it clear he trusts cold hard facts over sweet talk. As the courtroom braces for impact, you can already tell this isn't going to be an easy ride for Mr. Jones.
Hey, don't talk. I mean, we're just trying to, the thing is, Mr. Jones, is I have a very limited amount of time to try to get to know you. Everyone that comes in front of me tells me it's gumdrops and rainbows and little bunnies jumping in the woods. But the way I really get to know you is the paper, because that tells me who you are, right? If you're a dangerous person, if you're a person that I'm going to let go and you're going to continue with the criminality, I have enough trouble sleeping as it is. I don't want more blood on my hands. I don't want something else that's going to keep me up at night. So that's why. Well, but this is how we get to know you. And he's telling me you got 46 pages of criminal history.
Your Honor, in the past 2 years, he's had 3 failure to appears of multiple cases. He's had 2 habitation trespass convictions, a DWLI, prostitution, battery, criminal damage, failure to appear, possession of drugs, felony, obviously, resisting. But in the 21 some odd years, it's the 47 cycles of different offenses, and I just stopped scrolling after 2020.
The courtroom tension rises as the judge digs into Jones's history of failures to appear, drug charges, trespassing, and violent incidents. The most brutal moment? When the judge tells him straight up, "You're 40 years old, and you've had a case almost every year you've been alive." Jones tries to blame the system, claiming society failed him, but the judge pushes back hard, reminding him that at some point personal accountability kicks in. It's a reality check that hits deeper than any sentence could.
How many failure to appears do we have?
3, Your Honor. And this one itself is a no-show, or according to the transmission.
Hey, Jan, could I say something?
Sure.
Okay, with the one you come out with the failure to appear, I feel that was nonsense because of the simple fact that I flew from Fort Lauderdale up here after they said I had a warrant, and I went to court a couple days before that. And is that documented, sir? You can see that?
Judge, I will say this. He did explain that
How
to
old are
me.
you, Mr. Jones?
I'm 40 years old, sir.
You're 40.
Yes, sir.
How many cases has he picked up in total?
That he's been charged with, if you give me 10 minutes, I can count them, but it's not low. I mean, I can start from 2004.
So theoretically, for every year you've been born, you've had a case.
I have a
You're
question.
40 years old, and you
sir.
have around 46 pages of criminal history. So literally for every year you've been born, you've picked up a case.
All right, guys, now things get emotional. Mr. Jones finally fires back, saying he did show up to court and even flew back and forth to clear up his charges. He claims the system is the real mess, letting him board planes, appear before judges, and still slapping him with warrants. Whether you believe him or not, it's a rare glimpse into how tangled and broken the system can be for people bouncing between states. Jones isn't just defending himself, he's fighting for his whole narrative.
And not only that, you've got multiple failures to
Sometimes you don't think the jurisdiction will fail me?
Huh?
You don't think the jurisdiction will fail me?
But the problem is, at some point, your actions become your own. You now have with us, you've picked up a theft case here in Harris County. You've got an open case in another jurisdiction. You've got pages upon pages. So at what point is it on you?
When you pay your debt to society, why do they keep using it against you? I pay my debt to society for those.
Because it continues.
For those hires, okay.
Continues to happen. At some point, DAs are like, jail just doesn't work anymore. So that's when we got to go to prison, because this dude.
But prison don't help guys. That don't make them better. That makes them worse. Instead of tormenting them and sending them and feeding them to the wolves, y'all should sit down with that person to find out what's going on to help that person. Instead of prison not helping nobody, prison is not.
The judge isn't moved by emotional speeches. Instead, he lays it out brutally clear. The woe is me attitude won't change your future. Jones A. pushes back, furious that his past mistakes are being used against him over and over again. His attorney steps in, pleading for mercy, arguing that everyone deserves a clean slate, especially if they're willing to fix their mistakes. This is where the courtroom splits between second chances and cold, hard consequences.
I can't tell you how many stories I have read of people who get degrees, college degrees, even become a lawyer while they're in prison. So if you want it to help, then it will. But you got to want it. If you
one better than me, Your Honor.
If you have,
you know what the sad thing about it is, and in the state of Florida with me, and that's why I left. Something happened, and now I have a conflict of interest against the police. So now they're jigging at me every chance that they get. But it's crazy. He's saying I have a warrant, and I flew from there after that warrant was pro se. Pro se that they said I have. I flew from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Houston, flew back down there, and flew back. And they said I have a warrant, and I flew and went to court for another charge down there.
I don't get it.
And I went inside.
I don't know how that happened, but it's not supposed to.
So who's the system failing? If I have a warrant, you mean to tell me they're gonna let me in their courtroom, attend to my judge, see my judge, everything, and let me go, and let me get back on the plane to fly back here? Mind you, I flew from here and flew back down there.
Now the prosecutor punches back harder. They highlight Jones's history of violence, resisting arrest, and multiple failures to appear, including ones as recent as late 2023. They argue that letting him out could be a real danger, not just a gamble. Jones insists the system confused his warrant dates, but the judge sees a bigger pattern. It's a harsh moment when hope feels almost crushed under the weight of a lifetime of bad decisions and missed chances.
They let me do all of this with a warrant?
I can't explain that. I can't.
So that's the system failing somewhere, somehow. That's not me.
Let me talk to the judge real fast.
But Mr. Jones, if you have this woe is me attitude, it's never going to change. It's never going to change.
I'm not helping. It's not helping. Y'all not helping society. Y'all always blaming me and this and that and the other. Prime example, he's saying, oh, he got priors from here. And he went to call the stuff off that he said, well, only stopping from 2022, and he going past 2022. And I'm like, yo, but that's what the prosecutor do. He just doing his job.
Right, that's what he's doing.
Judge, if I may, sure. Points. First, if he's finished up the cases that he has had in his history. He's had a history, okay, he's had a history. If he's paid his debt to society, like he says, if he's completed what he needs to do for those cases, that really shouldn't be relevant here. I would argue that...
As the debate heats up, the defense makes one last emotional appeal, saying the current warrant only just came out and Jones hasn't intentionally been running. They argue that everyone deserves the opportunity to prove they've changed, but the courtroom feels split. Can a man who's fallen so many times be trusted with another shot? Or is the risk too high? It's a heavy moment where both the defense and prosecution throw everything they have on the table.